they came out on the other side just the way that we are looking at them now. But it means they've been intentional about their marriages. They've put in the work, and they are now out there and, being examples for us to see. So that is the whole, in a nutshell, the whole idea of us bringing couples. I know someone sent me a message last week saying that they've been seeing men come on the show, and I'm like, yes, that's the whole idea for this year. All right. So following in that line, I reached out to our guest for today. I have been an ardent follower. I follow her on Instagram, and people, you actually need to go follow her. Okay, this is not to cite anyone. She makes marriage, enviable. You see her, you see her husband, you see her kids, and you wonder that when we say God when, she's a God when kind of at least the one that I have seen on Instagram. I follow both of her pages on Instagram, and she doesn't shy away from telling you the way it is when it comes to marriages. And I'm so honored that you actually agreed to do this with me. I thank you from the depth of my heart.
You're very
and welcome to
welcome. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I love what you're doing. Marriage, whether you like it or not, marriage, family is a cornerstone of everything. And whether we like it or not, we don't talk enough about it.
Yeah.
There are ways we just see it on TV, and you forget that what you see on TV is literally just 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's a show. So it's literally just one little snippet, but there's so much more that goes into it for you to get to that point. And so as much as possible, our culture doesn't necessarily talk so much about what you need to do. I don't think there's a school that talks to you about what you need to do to make your marriage work. And so in my own little way, I try as much as possible to help. So it's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I just want you to give us a brief introduction about yourself. Let's get to know, at times the person you see, the person, let me be a bit, the person you see on Instagram is totally different from the person in real life. And so I like most times to ask people that tell us a bit about yourself that we don't know, that we don't see on social media.
So I'll tell you that I was not the person that wanted to get married. How about that? And that's one thing that you would not know. I didn't grow up in a home that was the most loving. I didn't have all these things that I have now. I didn't see it. So my waking thought was like, and I watched my mom go through it. So I grew up with this mentality that I'm never going to get married. I was very forward thinking back then, because I used to say they had just started. Okay, I also have to backtrack. I'm almost 50. So you're talking about 30 years ago, I was thinking about the fact that I'm never getting married because I want to be happy. And it doesn't seem like any of these people that are married are happy. So I said, I'm not getting married. And I used to say it to my dad boldly that I'm never going to get. And because my mom was no longer in the picture, there was nobody to talk to me and say, no, or anything like,
always like that.
That's not how it is. My dad brushed me off and he said, well, you outgrow it. I'm like, that just got me more stuck into the fact that I'm never getting married. The way this man treats women, if that's what I have to look forward to, I'm not doing it. I'm like, it's not for me. I want to be happy, and I don't see anybody happy. But even though I was saying that, there's another part of me that was also a romantic, because I loved books.
Yeah.
And I was always reading. I was reading M&Bs. And so, of course, there was me just also looking at, these things also look so pretty. I want this, of course, we're women. So we all dream about just finding our person. And so that was me growing up. Of course, I dated. I knew I'd always date. I knew I was motherly. I loved kids. I'm the first of 10. No, I'm the first girl of 10. So I have an older brother, which if you have any brothers, you might as well be the first one.
Yeah.
So I'm the second. But that means that I've always been around kids all my life. So I've always known that I would have children. I knew I wanted them. But I used to say, like, oh, maybe I'll just get a sperm donor back then. I used to say then. And everyone, most of my friends, if they come on here, they would say, yep, that's what she used to say. And they looked at me like I was crazy. Because I knew I wanted kids, but I didn't know that I could. I didn't think that I could be happy.
You could get it the conventional way.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't think so. So I dated, I had friends. I knew you asked me to say about my first heartbreak or anything like that. And my very first encounter with anyone, I guess I should say when I lost my virginity, I was a side chick and I didn't even know I was a side chick. I didn't even know. So that's the high. So you can say I started with heartbreak, meaning the guy said, I was in Lagos, I was in Ado, oh, come over. Valentine's Day, he was not available. Me too, I was gullible. I was thinking, oh, okay, he's busy. It's not that I'm older, like, how did you think he was busy? Who is busy on Valentine's Day? like seriously.
We don't,
as I said,
we don't actually think about it that way then, because we were so young and we want this fantasy that we believe, we don't think about, we don't add one plus one.
We don't. So that was my first heartbreak. And the person also didn't believe I think that's also when I got my first taste of realizing that men and women and how they see things are different. Even though I was telling the person that, oh, I was a virgin, my personality was the personality I have now was still the personality I had then, which was that I was talking to everybody. I was friendly, so they're like, she can't be. This one is not a virgin, but I was. And so it wasn't until he got there, it's like, oh, she really was a virgin. Like, so basically, he had bungled up the whole thing. If not for the fact that I had friends that were telling me that, hey, or that I had friends that were talking that this thing is actually not like this. You are supposed to have fun with it. It's supposed to be pleasurable. It's supposed to be fun. I would have given up on love then. But I had that at the back of my mind saying that there are people I know that are in good relationships, kind of, sort of, that they seem happy. So mine might get there someday, that I'm not going to let this one person take away my idea of things. And then the more I got, and this was all through college, mind you. So the more I talked to more and more women, and that's one of the reasons why I set up my company as well, is I realized that if not for the various women that I had spoken to throughout my life, other people, my friends' mothers, my aunties, my mom had already died, so there was no way for me to get any information from my mom. But as I was getting information from all of these aunties, I realized that, okay, these women have kind of sort of figured it out. So maybe I could be able to figure it out too, which is something I got from my dad. My dad can't tell me, my dad didn't have a happy marriage. So how could he tell me how to have a happy one when he didn't have one himself? My mom was dead, so who was going to help me? She couldn't tell me anything either. So it was my friends' moms that, would pull me aside and be like, okay, there are certain things that you can, actually, it's not even just by telling me, it's literally just by being around them that they would point out little things that I was doing wrong, the things that I hadn't analyzed the right way. That's how I was able to now shape my thinking.
Your thinking.
To the point where I finally got to and so there were many mishaps.
Wow.
Heartbreak was all over the place.
Wow.
The first one wasn't great. I got scammed by another one because I was too open until he emptied out the entire account.
Are you serious?
Oh no, I'm very serious. I I thought I was sharp, but I was gullible. You would think, it was a case of, he knew I loved kids, so he used the kid angle to get me.
To get to you.
So wow. It's like, I have this foundation. I told you to, of course, your mind is like, you have a foundation. That's so great. Blah, 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 blah. Then, of course, he wanted to buy something for the foundation and the money was not clicking. And then, and he didn't ask me, of course, be ever generous, helpful somebody. Me too, I was now coming like, how are you going to do it? I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to have to take a trip back. I don't know. Me too, I'm like, I can. I can help.
Someone said it's called breakfast, so they served you breakfast.
Hot breakfast. But the point is, you learn, and I think that it's really important that you don't allow, and that's the one thing that I find that I always try to help people with is don't let that one situation that happened deter you from everything. Exactly. It's not the whole, that's not everybody. There are still amazing people out there. You have to find your own. Don't allow that one person that you meet to now derail you. I'm like, the whole world is like that. Of course, not everybody's a serial killer. Not everybody's a scammer. Not everybody's crazy. Not everybody is going to take you for granted. You're going to find your person. Don't give up until you do.
Wow. Thank you so much. I need to talk about something because I was just thinking while we were talking, because yes, at times we want to say that one situation should not define the rest of your life, but what I found out is we are not all built the same way. Some of us can take this thing on the cheek and just keep it moving, while some of us will take it and be stuck there.
Please don't let him. Don't think that I wasn't hurt in the moment. I probably cried my eyes out. That money, That money there that we're talking about is not that great. Now, if I look at it, it was $2,000, but for my $2,000 at 20 something was a lot of money.
Wow.
Do you
Yeah.
understand? It was a lot of money for me. The $2,000 now is probably what I'll probably, yeah, but it's not, it was a lot for me then. For somebody that struggled and put her pennies together in Nigeria, that 2,000 was everything to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not as if, it's not, I'm not going to make it seem as if, okay, I think the better way to explain it is that whether you like it or not, everybody has gone through what you have gone through. So whether you like it or not, you can choose to take strength from various people to make you stronger. Do you understand? So it's not as if I had a manual telling me that this is how you're going to figure it out, or that, okay, Remy, it is going to be fine. But everything that I've been through, the struggle I struggled to leave Nigeria, what I had to go through, I'm looking at that. If I could do it in that my ignorant phase, nothing is going to kill me now.
Yeah.
Nothing is going to shake me now.
Yeah.
So you have to also, you yourself, also dig deep and realize that, you know what, nothing that has happened to you in the past broke you. It hurts. It hurts.
Oh, yeah, it does. It will hurt at that moment. It will hurt so bad.
You need to process that hurt. It's kind of like going to the gym and your leg is paining you after you did the workout. You need to process it and then let it go. Knowing that hurt is part of what you needed. There's a lesson there that you needed to learn. And so I don't like to gloss over the things I've been through, because I feel like everything that I've been through is part of what has made me who I am today.
It took you through to where you are right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every single one. So when either it is something going on with my husband, there's something going on in business, anything, regardless of anything that has happened to me, I will be fine. I was in New York City by myself at the age of 22, by myself. There was no uncle, there was no auntie, nobody. And I figured it out. That's not my life now. So what can make me now?
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. You see, figuring it out. And
even if you don't figure it out yourself, I think another thing is, even if you don't figure it out, find people that have figured it out. Because I think the one thing that we also don't do enough of is you don't realize, you feel like you're by yourself. Nobody has been this good.
I was actually going to say that lean on other people, like lean on people that I've always mentioned support. Yeah.
So, and everything that you've been through, like it or not, it's life. I'm not, and I don't say that I don't say that to be blasé about it or to make it sound as if it's not important. But you will be okay. It is gonna hurt. Cry that cry. I've cried my cry well, as they say. But don't stay there. I don't think that you should package it and not process it. Process it and let it go. Let it go. It's so important. Let it go.
Thank you so much. I hope you're seeing the comments. They're saying thank you. You're very outspoken, and
I'm passionate about this. It's something I'm really passionate about.
It's good. I'm actually grateful I bring you here, because this was actually not the trajectory we're supposed to go. But if this is the way it takes and it helps someone out there, I hope I'm glad we are doing our own dates. And
if you don't, and I'm sorry to cut you off, I just thought of something. Somebody just said something about lean on people. Sometimes the people in your circle may not have the answers you're looking for. That's another thing. Because if you're in a circle of people that everybody's going through the same thing, or nobody has the experience, they may not be able to help you. That's why you have to also look outside of your circle. And that can be difficult to do sometimes, but you have to try. You have to try. Social media makes it
try. And for us as Africans, we need to be open to learning, open to reading, open to educating ourselves. I know we don't talk much about, going for counseling or therapy or conferences or, but when you go to all these places, yes, you get one or two things that can actually help you along the way. And for single people out there, I saw some people say they are running to go follow you, which is great. But what you're seeing there is like she just said, she's been through the process. She has had her own share of the odds, of the pains and everything, and then she put in the work, because nothing is going to fall on your lap. So I don't want you to rush to a page and see a page and start crying, God when. But there is a process, so be patient and go through that process as well. All right. So how did you now meet your husband?
At an airport. I know, totally random. I was going to Nigeria. My first trip back to Nigeria after I left Nigeria, and again, I guess I need to touch on that a little bit. I left Nigeria in 1990. Let me not go 3 years because again, I've only probably want to remember. But I left Nigeria a very harsh way, meaning my dad didn't know where I was. My family didn't know where I was. I was communicating with certain members of my family, but not everybody. I had gone and petitioned myself at the embassy to get my passport, so it was a process, and I'd been doing it for years. So I finally got out. It was my friends that were with me. My friends knew everything I was doing, but my family didn't know anything except for my brother and my sister. But I left Nigeria. That was how I left Nigeria. So this was my first trip back to Nigeria, and my friend said, my friend was, okay, actually, a friend of mine, his name is Buki Olopade, was going to Nigeria for a wedding, and his wife had said, that if her daughter is going, the only person she trusts is me, because I was very much the auntie. Auntie, I was very, if I was around, you could trust me with our kids. I would take them to the park.
Someone said I'll be going to the airport tomorrow.
If you have to shine your eye well, you have to shine your eye well. And so I was going, but the thing about it is, it's not just the airport that you can find somebody. Doing the things that you love to do. I went to Nigeria not to meet my husband. I went to look after my niece.
Something else.
I went to look after my niece, and I was like, okay, I was very protective. Like, if she's going to Nigeria, I didn't even think about myself that, you've not been to Nigeria all this while. And my friend said, come now, you'll be okay. I'll be with you, because the last time I saw my dad, he beats me in front of my friends. So I was not really trying to go to Nigeria at all, because I was like, what if this happens? What if, when your mind plays tricks on you? And so I'd gone for the wedding. The wedding went well, and we were leaving. And that was at the airport. Back then, you had to go through checkpoints to process your passport. You had to go to the first one. Then they won't put your load on the plane until they had checked it multiple times. Because we were a bigger group, he went to go and check the things. And I was sitting with my niece, with a couple of our other friends, and he walked past. As all of us were like, this fine boy, blah, blah, blah. But I was the only person to speak up. So I spoke up. And that was how we started.
You guys met. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And how long have you been married?
We've been married almost 21 years now.
Wow. Wow.
We've been together
for 23. Okay. You've been married for 21 years. And statistically, they'll tell you the first 5 years of marriage is the most challenging, is the toughest. Was it the same? Was it that way for you?
Yes, it was. Because I didn't, even though, okay, so I also need to explain what made him, for somebody that went from, I'm never marrying, to 3 hours after meeting somebody said, I'm going to marry him, because that's literally what happened for me. I met him. No, yeah, that's what happened for me. But I have to tell you why. Remember I said I was with a friend of mine who was a guy, and he was always the one, he and most of my other friends, those are the ones I was looking at, that, okay, all of you people and how you guys are, I don't think I'm ever going to marry a Nigerian, because the way you guys are, the way I am, it's different. We are two different people. But part of what I learned about myself when dating was that when people start telling me, oh, you need to change this about yourself, some of the things they wanted to change were impossible for me to change. Like, for example, my outspokenness that you guys are talking about, this is how I've always been. So there'll be some that, as you're talking 5 minutes into the conversation, you talk fast. I can't change that. Or you are too extroverted. I can't change that.
They'll tell you, you can't find husband since you have this big personality.
Exactly.
They'll be like, the rock of faith.
And I'm like, maybe I should just stick to the white people, or maybe I should date because it doesn't seem like I'm going to find anybody that's going to like me the way I am. But you see, the thing about most people, I didn't try to change the things that I could change about myself. Let's say they were talking about, and I'm not trying to think of something that I could change, but these things that they were asking about me to change were things that were part of who I was. How can I change my personality? Someone would say, oh, you are too friendly. I've always been friendly from day one. How am I going to change that about myself? And I never wanted to, because a lot of good has happened from that. If I tell you how I met my landlord, it was this friendly personality. I served him. I was a waitress. I served him, and that was how he became my landlord. I didn't know he was going to be my landlord. I ended up meeting him 2 weeks later. He's like, aren't you the girl that served me lunch or dinner the other day? You were nice. I know you have a job. Here, you can have the apartment. If I had been bad to him, or I hadn't been friendly, would I get my first apartment? That apartment served me, or two of my sisters. It was in our family for a while. So the things that people were complaining about me were things that were actually good. My friendliness is how I made my friends, because I didn't have money and I had many family issues. So if not for my friendliness, would I have met my friends? If not for my friendly personality, would I have been able to survive in New York by myself? If not, so the things that they were complaining about were all good things.
Yeah, but at that point in time, they are not seeing the positive side of that. They are just seeing that, oh, she's so outspoken. You know, we are Africans, you know the way we think. Yeah.
But also what they were saying to me as they're telling me, I'm like, I can't change these things. These are things that are good. I'm not going to change it. That means I'm not good for you. And you're also not good for me.
Exactly.
But the very first thing my husband said to me on the plane, because we met at the airport, and then we now got on the plane, was, "You're different." Imagine. So I'm like, okay.
Imagine.
Exactly. It's like, you are different. He did not say he wants to change anything. He's like, I usually don't date. I don't like Nigerian girls because I find them boring. That you're not boring. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
I mean? Exactly. So when I tell people, don't change who you are, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you're perfect for somebody just the way you are. You don't know that. You don't realize it. So for me, this was me now seeing this guy. First, I thought he was cute. You know, you see somebody that's cute and you're like, it can go either way. Cute is only it's only half of the story, or only a third of the story. So yes, I thought he was cute, but what's more, he also likes my personality. Okay, and he's also
like a breath of fresh air for you when everybody's saying what everybody's complaining about is what really attracts him to you.
Exactly. And which is why I tell people that they shouldn't change things about themselves. Be yourself. Be your absolute. Don't even try, because as you are perfect for somebody. But you get discouraged when you don't meet the right person, and you're thinking that so I didn't change. This is who I was. Now, don't get me wrong. The person I was then, I also had issues that I didn't even know I had.
Oh, we evolve. We all evolve. You know, if we don't evolve, some things you do when you were in your teens yet, you most likely will do it now. That's evolution. You know.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
All right.
And so that was how we met.
So on a lighter note, okay. So how did you propose? Because I know you said he told you it was like three days or 3 hours after.
Jesus. No, wait, you must have missed, because I said I knew. I did not say he knew. He did not know. I said I knew. He did not figure it out until 6 months later. There's a different. The story is funny. It's funny, but the reason why I say it often is people always think that men have it all figured out, and that a man should be able to know categorically. But technically speaking, I didn't hear you.
No, go on.
But for me, I knew, but he was in a different. He was doing something else prior to meeting me. Remember, I had my own issues that I was dealing with, which was saying I don't want to date anybody. Well, not that I didn't want to date anybody. I wasn't trying to get married or whatever. But he's also he's a very handsome man. So, of course, his own story was different. Now, I have to pause and tell you something that my auntie had told me, because she said to me when I was 20 that I think she was just asking me about, okay, so who are you dating? I said, everybody has a boyfriend. She said, how is that your problem? Money up to. What do you mean? How is that your problem? Only uncle to uncle to ambition I never thought about it. Nobody ever tells you stuff like that. But that was a conversation I had with her when I was 20. So she said, the way we look at this world, whether we like it or not, it's no matter how feminist, and she's a chartered accountant, she's very, very established. But she said, the way the world is, it is still a man's world, and men have options, and they go through their options, which means that there's going to be one that his mother likes. There's going to be one that his friends are like. There's one that he likes. Exactly. She said, but if you are very, very smart, you will see all the things that everybody is doing. Everybody can do all the jobs. All of us can do all of it. If you are smart, and if you have decided that that's the one you want, you will be their person. Their confusion that is around him, that's allowing him to all over the place, and he's still chasing you. That means that he's confused, that he has not found the one that has all of it. You can be the one that has all of it. I looked at her like she was crazy when she said that to me, because to me it didn't make any sense. She had that conversation at 20, and I never forgot it. It kicked in when I met my husband at 27. And I'm like, this is what mommy was referring to. When you meet that person, for that person, it will be right.
Yeah.
So imagine me now having dated people. It's not like I had it. I dated people. I've been and I'm like, this one's not it. And I now meet this person and I now say to him, so how many people are you talking to? Not dated, no, not dated. I said, how many people are you talking to? He said 3. Do you want to join? I said I liked you. I didn't say I was stupid. But literally, he's like, wow, you are very, very different.
Yeah.
But my point is, but when he said that, and I'm looking at everything that I've been through, and I remember our conversation, it clicked. So I just I was watching him. I knew, and I told my friends then that I found the guy I was going to marry. His road had to clear. His road had to clear first.
Wow. Thank you so much. I hope you're reading the comments. Someone was making me laugh when they said they love the way you switch to your Yoruba accent.
I go back and forth when necessary.
So Mama can speak Yoruba. Her name is Remy, guys. Her name is Remy. So yeah, she can. Anyway, thank you for the nuggets you're dropping, especially for the younger ones, for singles. And I hope you guys are picking. See, nobody is saying you should go after another person's husband. It's different. She's not saying.
The first thing she said, a married man, leave a married man. Married man, leave a married
guy. Don't assume it's just you.
Married man, leave a married man.
So don't say
even the guy that is ugly, there is somebody there. Even the guy that is looking like there's something going on, assume there is something going on. Before, don't assume that even if they're telling you that they are not, that they are single, that's the one you should be running from. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you single? You understand? Because and so my auntie said it to me. Who thinks about things like that? Who thinks about situations like that? I assume that you are seeing somebody. Oh, why?
Wow. All right. Thank you so much. And now I want us to move to the challenges, because you really not told us that the challenges you faced in your first 5 years of marriage and what you did to overcome, those challenges.
So first things first, I had a chip on my shoulder, which means that I came with this knowledge of, every small argument, I would always think that he's trying to manipulate me, or I'm not my mother. You cannot treat me.
Wow. See, sorry, I want to just interrupt you and say something, because who we are now is a bit of what we were growing up. We have, something happened to form and shape us into who we are now. And when you just said that, I had a flashback, and I know those that are familiar with this show have had me talk about my story with my ex-husband. And one of my regrets is the fact that I come with this mentality of no, I watched my mom go through that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to do that. Yeah.
And so that was me. Everything he would give me, if he's giving me 1, I was giving him 3. That was like fire. So we were not. Actually, I shouldn't say it was just fire. My way of dealing with things was malice. I'm not talking. We are not. If I cook the food and I feel as if our number one fight back then used to be, I moved to London because he was living in London. I moved to London, and let's say I'd made a meal, which I did not communicate to him that I made. I just assumed he should know I made the meal. Meanwhile, he's not the kind of person owned by JDS. So he's like, anything that he has a long list of places he can go. What if they want to pay all there? Like, sharp, they've made his food. He will bring my own, all fairness, he'll bring my own, but in my own annoyance, I'm like, what do you mean? Are you taking me for granted? Did you not know I was cooking this food?
No.
I will trash it.
Whoa.
Trash the food. And then we are not talking. I'm not talking to you. I'm keeping malice. Where am I going with all of that? Where? Instead of bothering to understand that this person has been doing something a certain way prior to meeting me.
Before you came.
I came along. So instead of me to understand how he was doing his things and find a way like, hey, I know you're hungry, or just communicate. I did not communicate. So I could be giving that malice for a month. Don't ask me what I'm fighting for. I was a serious fighter. We'll be there fighting for a month. I am not talking to you. You are saying hi. You are saying
food that he did not.
See me see trouble. I look back on myself and I'm like, where was I thinking this was going to go? Where? And so I think that for the first 5 years, even though we were compatible and we loved each other, we didn't fully understand each other. And it took us time. I think I look at things from my point of view, and that's the problem a lot of people have, is you're only looking at it from my point of view. If it was me, I wouldn't do this.
I would do it this way. This is what I will react. This is what I will say. Then
but the person is not you.
Projecting.
How is he going to know any of that? It's impossible. So it took, believe it or not, it took cheating for me to realize that what I was doing was impacting my relationship. And I don't like to say that is my catalyst, but it is the truth. It's my story. People always think that, the cheating has to happen. Men don't know how to communicate very well. A man is not going to come and sit down and say, come, my dear, bye, don't do me, which is what women do. And so for me, when anything that's bothering me, that's what I would do. I would sit him down like, okay, this is how this is hurting me. And he would only remember things that are paining him when we are fighting. Then he would bring in all the things that he did not remember to tell me from 10 years ago. I'm like, when did that one happen? Why didn't you tell me that one since? So we were not communicating well. But it was an indirect situation. The cheating happened. I found out. I'm like, okay, I thought we were different. Because that's the first thing that came to my mind is, you are cheating. That used to be my deal breaker, because that's what happened with my mom. Or like my mom and my dad. So for me, I used to say that I am not going to be with anybody that is going to cheat on me. That is it. You cheat, we are done. That was my criteria for all the other people I had broken up with. If you cheated, I don't want to hear the story. Bye-bye. Gone. So this one, I'm not like, wait, I thought we were different. How the hell is this happening? Why is this happening to me? I thought I was like, the person I said I didn't want to marry me. Imagine all this is going through my head. And I'm like, I need to find out why. I couldn't find out from him because all the things that he's saying to me is different. So me being me, I called the girl. But I didn't call the girl the way normal people will call the girl. I called the girl and people always tell me things. I called the girl like I was just trying to throw him a party and I needed help. So I was like, I'm so sorry to bother you. This is awkward. Please don't. But do you know his birthday? Because if she knows his birthday, then this story is not going to work. But she did not know his birthday. And I already used that to say, like, okay, it can't be that serious. We don't know his birthday. His birthday had just passed. So I'm like, do you know his birthday? That I'm actually his friend and I'm trying to do blah, blah, blah. She says, oh, no, that she's been trying to meet his friends. I said, okay, so she doesn't know his friends. She doesn't know his birthday. She's not that serious. That's me doing math in my head. But I'm like, oh, tell me about you. So she has given her a little tidbit. Then I now ask her, like, but, I don't know who you are, though. So she now starts to tell me story. Oh, I've been liking him for like a year. I'm like, but he never gave me any time. So I'm like, okay. So wow. It's not as if, but I've been asking him, I've just been waiting. I'm like, So in my mind, I'm doing all my processing and I'm saying, exactly. So that means that when we are good, he always has the strength to say no. But in my 1 month malice keeping situation, she now asked them, and she asked him to come. She said, I've been asking him to come to dinner, and he's always saying no. In my mind, I'm like, was that during when I was? In my mind, I'm like, is that when I was keeping malice? And it was.
Wow.
So I didn't even say anything to her, and this is not coming from him. This is me hearing from somebody else. Processing, and I've always been very, very self-aware of myself, meaning I can see, okay, what did I do? And I'm not saying that makes it okay, but I'm saying that considering how I thought our relationship was, how did we get here? How did I go from this is the person I want to marry after 3 hours and we are good? I left America, went to move to London for him. How did we get here? And so I always say that the first thing you should do is actually ask yourself these questions. It shouldn't just be like, oh my God, he went out to like this person.
It's Eve, or it's
not always. There's a part I had to play too, and that was when I realized that the malice I was keeping, my house was not a warm place to be. I was not his friend. I was not anything. He was leaving, so she tells me the story. She's like, he came for dinner and he was leaving innocently. He had only gone there to eat rice or whatever she was cooking. He was leaving. He had done all the things that I had taught
Wow.
that I taught him. Meaning, he washed his plate. He washed his plate, and he was about to leave. She said she was not about to let him leave. That as he was leaving, she turned the hug into a kiss. And I'm like, of course, I have not been having sex with him too, obviously. So I had not been feeding him. I had not been having sex with him, and I was not
talking to him at all. You've not done anything. You just slept him.
Somebody now is giving herself on a platter, and I'm like,
wow,
wahoo, as they say, wahoo,
wahoo, wahoo,
right? Major wahoo. But I learned that was the last time I kept malice. It took me a while to get past that, obviously, but I learned from it. I don't keep malice again after that. But it also took me like, okay, so we didn't have a problem, but a problem came up for things that I didn't realize I was doing. So do I throw the relationship
I cannot. You're just honestly, because self-awareness. Oh goodness.
Away. This is the person that you have said is different from everybody else. Do I walk away from it and hope to find somebody else? Again, granted, mind you, this is very early in our relationship. This was 2 years in, I'll be 2-3 years in. I'm like, do I walk away from it and just let it go? Or do I try to find a way through? Can I be better? Is the malice who I am? You're not your mom. I'm not my mom. Why am I thinking like this?
Yeah.
So part of our issues was that my tone, my anger was another. I was very angry with my dad for many, many years. And I didn't realize that I was carrying a lot of that anger from my parents into my own relationship.
Yeah.
So I had to let that go as well. I think I got to, again, conversations with people have made me better. And that's why I try to have conversations with people too. I didn't need therapy because I'm very, very, as you can see, I'm very self-aware.
No, if you can actually self-analyze yourself very and just tell yourself that, oh, I should do it for you. Like you're doing too much. Girl, you need to like slow down,
absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
Absolutely. And that was me. And then there would be conversations I would have, and my uncle, for example, said to me, what, you're angry with your dad? Kini binu Kini how did he say it?
What are you really angry about?
No, he said, and when he asked me that question, I said to him, everything that happened with my mom, he said, isn't it everything that has happened to you that has made you who you are today? He's like, is that going to change the apology or the answer? So my change in my mind, so my change anything, and it's like a fog. I don't know. It's like a cloud just disappeared. I was like, he's right.
Yeah,
he's absolutely 100% right. It doesn't. And then I had to look at my dad. I'm like, you are who you are, and I had to forgive everything that happened with him. Like, you know what? You did what you knew how to do. How am I going to make my own self better?
Better. Oh wow. Thank you so much, and I'm grateful people are seeing this because I've seen a lot of comments about saying how insightful this is, because for us as women, most of the times we just want to blame the man. It's just his fault. It's someone that did something. We don't take stock of our own self.
We don't.
And
I had to.
Yeah,
I had to. I'm not saying that it takes away anything from him.
Except for what the pain, it doesn't know what was done, or it doesn't excuse the other person. It's just that you can only be responsible for you.
For yourself. Absolutely. You're so right.
Responsible for yourself.
And you're also responsible for how you allow what they've done to affect you. So everything that's happened with my dad, I realized that my dad is also a product of what was around him at that point in time. So he did what he knew how to do. So what am I doing? How am I going to make my own situation better? How am I going to make?
How do you even break the circle?
Exactly.
Well, how do you break the circle if you don't decide to do something different?
And that's the thing, and that's one of the reasons why I set up my company. But I'm very intentional about my family. Everything I do is intentional. Whether it is having a conversation, understanding that everything I say has an impact, a long-term impact. I'm never thinking of just now. I'm thinking of the future. Yeah. So also me analyzing and understanding my husband is also me also understanding that he is also a product of what he has been exposed to. Everybody he has dated before me or also how his mom raised him, which I can't even blame her too. She too did what she knew how to do. So what am I?
I was having a conversation with my cousin one day, and I was telling her that we really can't blame our parents, because what they know is what they are doing.
Exactly.
You can only do what you know. What you don't know, you can't do. That's the truth.
That's the truth. So I decided to be different. Yeah. I decided that I want to be a better example for my own son. I want to raise somebody that actually sees what it's like to love. Part of the things that you're asking me about was like, how did we deal with certain things? I never had any examples of somebody compromising, or because my dad didn't compromise for anybody. He did what he wanted to do. So I was also the kind of person like, you have to do it this way. But both of us are in this relationship, so we're both supposed to kind of find our way together to do something. So it's not just about what I want. It's also got to be, this home is supposed to be for both of us. So we both have to find a way to get through. And that takes, again, you don't imagine. So when you're asking about what are the things that we had, those were the things like, how do we find this middle ground? Like, he's also not used to seeing certain things because he didn't see, his parents were also not together till the end. And so both of us didn't really have examples. So here's me trying to, and I'm also the person that is, the one that reads the most and finds it out. So it's me now presenting him with things like, oh, here, read this one, or hey, do this one, or us having our own sessions that we'll sit up in the morning. I'm like, okay, so what did I do this time that is annoying you? Or can you cook it? Or me just saying that, you know what, I'm not going to respond to this the way you're answering me with anger, because if I answer you now, this whole thing that I built is going to fall apart.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I hope we're able to go through everything we need to go through today, because you fed us real well. You fed us so well. So one thing I really want us to talk about is the feminism. Like, when you see people, especially women that have this larger than life personality, you will think that this person is a feminist. She doesn't want to, she won't submit, she won't, respect her husband, she won't do all that. It's actually a misconception. I call it profiling, because you just see someone and you see someone doing this and you just profile the person and just assume that the person is a feminist. So let me ask you, what does feminism mean to you?
I think feminism means something different to me, to be honest. I think feminism to me is knowing that you are a woman, and knowing that being a woman means that you're also very, very powerful. You have to know when to turn the softness on, and when to be harder where necessary. It's knowing how to be fluid. That to me is the core of femininity. So when it comes to work, I am very, very different. My expectations are different, and how I handle it is different. How I handle my home, how I handle my husband, and the fact that I also have a son as well. So basically, that's also a man in himself. How I handle them both is also very different. So, for example, I might already know what it is that I want to do, but I'm not in a relationship by myself. I'm married to somebody. So I do have to still come back and explain it to him so that he gets it, that what I am about to do, he's not just a passenger, it's us together. Whatever I do impacts him. Whatever he does impacts him. So we're still in this thing together. So that's when I believe that I now need to soften how I explain and express all of that to him. Remember, I had the idea. It does not mean that he's gonna just get it. And it doesn't mean that I just said I'm doing it, I don't have to explain it.
Most
being in a relationship,
just assume he should get it. We assume he should know.
How? There's no way. Or if I'm doing something regarding our son, again, I also don't want to be we all talk or complain about mama's boys. I don't want to raise a mama's boy. So I don't do everything for my son. I will ask him, why do you think you should do that? And then I'm like, okay, so your thinking was why and how? And okay, fine. As long as you can explain to me, that's how I've raised him. Is like, as long as you can explain to me what your thinking was behind what you're doing, fine. If it is wrong, I would then say, this is where, if I was working, I would tell you straight, this is what you did wrong. But with my son, I'm like, he would then say, Mom, so what are you trying to say? I'm like, did you think about this? And he's like, wait, what do you mean? I'm like, think about it. And so I push him to think. I don't give him the answers.
Mm.
I push him to think about it, and it ends up looking like his idea, because
It's
I
like,
want him to. I want him to constantly be thinking, because I don't want to make the decisions for him.
Wow.
And so,
wow. You
that's the same thing
you just actually answered one of our questions. You just gave us one of your parenting styles.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And as I said, I'm passionate about all of it, because sometimes we do so much and you don't realize you're doing so much, and you're teaching that person to rely on you.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to rely on me. Even the people that I sign up as clients, I don't want you to rely on me. I want to teach you how to become a better version of you, because the person that I use as my example, she doesn't have to tell me anything anymore. She literally, at one point in time, I used to have her on my shoulder, and I would think like, "Kini, mommy, my be." So I stopped having to ask her anything. Do you understand? Like, I got to a certain point after I had been talking to her for a while. Mommy, my shekere for them. She now became a case of like, I don't need to call her anymore. I got it. So people that I sign up and I talk to, I'm like, I don't want to be in your life forever. I'm not that. That's not the kind of person I'm trying to be. I mean, most people end up keeping me around regardless. But the point is, I want to make you powerful yourself. I want you to become the person that can do this. Like, you know what would she do here? You won't need to call me after a while. After I've sat down and talked to you for a couple of sessions, you will get it. And you will become better. Because I took from somebody I want people to take from me and become a version of them. I'm not my auntie at all, but I have taken from her and I've built on it.
Yeah. Which is a very good way to go about life, you know. But like when we come on this show, I tell people that whatever we're telling you or whatever you hear my guest or myself say, we are not saying do it that way. We are just saying take what you can from it and build on it.
Absolutely.
You know, and then form your own idea or your own opinion from that. Oh my goodness. And we don't have time. Hey.
It's okay.
Please.
It's all good.
So your idea of feminism, how does that affect your marriage in any way, or do you think it affected your marriage?
Initially, I think initially I wasn't the person I am today then, so it couldn't affect it then. But I think that because of my personality, I don't think of just me. I'm always thinking, if I'm thinking of anything, I think in threes. So before I do anything, I'm thinking of my husband, my son, and myself, and how it's going to impact us. People say it all the time. You should have a reality show. I already know that will never happen, because I know my husband and I know my son. It cannot happen because of
I remember you saying no, it's not going to come. Don't bother.
It can't happen because I know them. My son has introverted / extroverted moments. He goes back and forth. Some minutes he wants to be private, some minutes he wants to be, which is fine.
Which is good.
And it is good. And then my husband wants to be very private, and he has.
It's just from both of you.
Exactly. And then my husband on the other hand
wants to be child.
He is. And then my husband on the other hand wants to be very private. He does these little things he does for me. He does not left to him. He does not send anybody. He's like, I want to stay in my world. I want to stay in my house. I want to. So he comes out every so often for me, and I have to consider that he's doing the best he can. So that's why I say that my femininity, I understand and I take people for who they are. But I also know enough about myself, and I'm like, okay, this is what I can do, and then how can I now find ways to still work with the people in my life and make them happy without pushing just my views on them.
Yeah.
So I have to find a balance.
A middle ground.
And that's what I believe that femininity comes in, because with your femininity, you can find that balance, where sometimes with masculinity, they're very, very strict and rigid. And it takes a while, but your feminism can make them bend. But most people don't know how to use it.
So to you, there is a softer part of feminism. There is another part. You have to be firm with whatever you want. And then there's a part where you just need to, you know, put on the Eve kind of, you know.
I feel like there's balance.
And get what you want. Striking the balance. Thank you so much. So let me ask you now, because we have a lot of singles that are watching. And like I said earlier, we've had a lot of stories about marriages and how it's not working, how the abuse and everything that's going on there. So for you now, would you say you're a big proponent for marriage?
I am.
And would you advise singles to look forward to getting married?
I do, but I feel like you need to do it with wisdom. So I think that a lot of people are getting married for the wrong reasons. That's the first reason why it's not working. A lot of people are also getting into it without thinking it all the way through. You watch these matchmaking shows, for example, and you're saying the girl is saying she wants somebody with a top knot. I'm like, after the hair is going to fall out, what's the top knot going to do for you? Do you understand? And like, you hear certain things, and I'm like, what is there nothing more? You just want a top knot. How is that going to help you in 5 years from now? What is the top knot going to actually do? And it's the point, the truth of the matter is, most people are getting married for the wrong reasons. Oh, I want to get married, the pictures, the this, the that. What's going to be your core? What are you trying to do? Your love is supposed to be, it's supposed to be that you found somebody, or the way I believe marriage should be, which we don't often think about, is you should be thinking about the rest of your life. Who is going to walk this path with me till the end?
In the long run.
It's not the picture, it's not the Instagram, it's not that, it's not the dress, it's none of that. It's not the top knot. Because at 90, nobody's going to have top knots. But there's certain things that it wouldn't have happened. I always say that if you don't get the marriage part right, it's kind of like you saying you want to build a house and you want it to be a skyscraper and the foundation sucks. There's nothing you're building on it that's going to stay right. It's not going to work. The children you're going to bring into, you then have an issue, and you're going to think that it's the children that are the issue, but the foundation was wrong to begin with. The children are supposed to be a product of your love. Your love brought about, the two of you together are supposed to create something that is showing what you have built. That's what it's supposed to be. And then all of you are supposed to now take that journey and go on it together. There are some people that I don't think I would have ever met if not for my son and the things that he's been doing that have brought other people into our lives. So now that I've encountered so many people that have not, some people that have not married and are in their 70s and 80s, and you look at and they talk to you about their life, they tell you about what they've missed. Or you talk to people that have been married, for example, and didn't have kids, and you look at the fact that, okay, what if I didn't have kids? I mean, I wouldn't have met this person. I wouldn't have met that person. There's so many people that I wouldn't, so many things. I wouldn't be a swim mom. I wouldn't be any of that. There's so many things that I wouldn't have gone to see the college life that my son is. There's so much that I wouldn't have encountered if not for my son. So when you're thinking of getting married, think of the rest of your life, which is something that a lot of people don't ever think about, because if you never saw it, you don't have a concept of what to look forward to. I only have like one really good couple that I'm looking at, and they're in their 70s, and I admire them and that's what I'm looking at. I'm 50, my husband's 50, but we are looking at them like, okay, that's gonna be us someday.
You look good. You look so good for a 50-year-old. You look so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry because I have to interrupt you because of our time, and I really want you to answer. There are two questions that came in. The first one said, Matt, did you seek daddy's consent before you added this your beautiful haircut?
Yes, I did. He's very much we are all on each other's business. So he knew when I got my hair cut. Every time we are doing anything, whether I'm changing my hair or getting a wig, or we always talk about it. Yes, he knows.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So the second question is, did you discuss the number of kids to have before marriage?
Before marriage, no. We didn't talk about the number because I didn't really have a number. When I was
want to get married.
I didn't want, exactly. I knew I wanted kids, but my pregnancy was very, very rough. And so while I was pregnant, I was like, Mommy, I'm not doing this thing again. And I kept saying it to him. And he didn't really, I can't say that he totally agreed with me. And that's another thing, is I think a lot of people get frustrated when their ideas or the things that they're thinking about don't go with their spouse. Whereas for me, I'm very patient. I will wear you down. I will be patient. So initially, after I had our son and I'd gone through a really rough pregnancy and I had a 24-hour, almost 48-hour labor, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I tore. He was immediately saying, we have to do it again. But like, she will go through. Oh, Tito. But I didn't say anything because I'm like, remember, at the back of my mind, I also knew that he does have a right to say what he's saying. But it's exactly to one more. But it's for me to keep showing you why this is not a good idea. We want to travel. We want to do this. We want to do that. How are we going to do all of that? And then also, I'm the first girl. So I knew I was going to be an active aunt auntie, grandmother, because I was
Yeah.
everything for my siblings. So I was the one that would go when somebody had a baby. I would want to take care of this one's kids. So I was all over the place, and I didn't want to. I didn't feel like I could be there for my siblings if I had tons of kids. And I also had my mom at the back of my head that thinking that she had too many kids and she couldn't have a life of her own. I wanted a life.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a really, really good mom. And
Mom.
so there were so many things that I wanted to do. And I also wanted to be an active auntie, like my aunt was for me. So
To
I
you.
wanted to be all of these various things. And these were all the things swirling in my head. And he's looking at me
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? So initially, I just got on birth control, and I'm like, okay, I wish I could be blocking the thing from happening until he gets on my page.
All right, thank you. Please, guys, this will be the final question because we need to go. So, this person said, I'm in my first 5 years of marriage. I want to ask, Ma, did you talk about tithing, gifting both parents, and accepting visitors from both families together? That's like 3 in 1 question or 2 in 1. This person wants to know if you talk about tithing, if you talk about gifting both parents. I'm guessing giving your parents money. And then if you talked about accepting visitors from both sides of the family.
Well, we didn't talk about it, but we didn't talk about it beforehand. But when it came up, we did. So depending on the relationship that has existed, and these relationships that have existed, they pre-existed your relationship. So let's say, for example, this person has been giving money all of his life. If you have met him like that, you have to also understand it and then find a way that you guys can come to some kind of agreement, because he can't just cold turkey just stop doing what he's been doing all of his life. You go back to what I was telling you about early on in my relationship, that there were things that he was doing that had nothing to do with me. Same thing with you as a wife. You might have been doing that for your parents. That you might have been doing that for your parents all this while. My husband is the bigger church person in our house. Me, I watched my dad have church people play him all over the place. So I was very much like, I don't want anybody directing my head. So, but I also had to understand that he was raised different. So I had to respect how he does things. Honoring your parents, I understand how important that might be to you. But remember, I didn't have a relationship with my own dad, so I was not honoring him. I was not doing anything. Exactly. So, but I did understand. The thing about me is, even though I wasn't doing certain things, I did understand that he had a different relationship with his family. So I respected his views. I respected his mom, even though his mom and I didn't necessarily say it. I still respected her because, like it or not, in her position, she gave birth to him. And so she has this, there's nothing she can do that's really wrong per se. And I'm never going to and I always say the same thing, I'm not going to put myself in a position whereby my son is going to have to choose. And I never want anybody to ever have to choose between me. That's that's not a winning situation for you to be thinking about.
That's wisdom. So, and this person actually sent another question. I'm reading this because it's the same person, and I guess the typing was cut short. She said that her husband is the last born of his mom, and they discuss things together, and they are so close. Is it right to tell him to filter what he tells his mom? I think in a way you just
answer. You need to get closer to the mom as well. She's only going to be around for how much longer? I suggest, instead of you thinking of it like this is them against you, join them. Because like it or not, every mom's innermost thoughts is that you want your child to be happy.
Yeah.
That is my thought. My son does not even have anybody, and I'm still saying that I want my son to be happy. So if you get to know this woman, they are close. Who is right? Nobody's excluding you. You are one excluding yourself.
Wisdom. Well, that's all I can just summarize everything you've said. You just applying wisdom. You should put things are peculiar to you. So the way we all handle things most of the times will be different depending on the people that are involved. So I hope we've been able to, in our own little way, answer your questions, because everything she just said is for you to apply wisdom. Of course, you can't come between a mother and a son, even though that person is the husband now, and you don't want to.
I don't understand people these days. I don't understand these people these days. They're like, oh, he has to choose between them. I'm like, really? Why are you putting yourself in this non-winning situation? Why would you do that? Why can't you why can't you figure, like it or not, she has her quirks. Understand her and her quirks. How much longer is she going to be in this world? Don't you realize that the relationship they have with the relationship he has with his mom is going to transfer to you if you are smart. If it transfers to you, she's not going to last forever. No, think about it. She's not going to be around forever. My mother-in-law has gone now. May her soul rest in peace. But like it or not, my entire personality, did she get to know it? No. But the thing about it is there's only but so much she can do to understand me. But it's for me to understand how I need to find a way to relate with her. And I did. I did not go with any makeup to go and see her. I would tie my wrapper and I would go there and cook in the kitchen. No, because you have to find a middle ground. Whenever she's cooking, I will go there and cook with her. But that made her happy. I'm not going there with makeup or lashes, or maybe my lashes will stay, but sharp. But my point is, I would tie my wrapper. No, because it's true. You have to find a way to find a middle ground. Sometimes these same things that are working for a life may not necessarily work if I'm going to see somebody that this is going to throw them off.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. I have to put a pin because we've been doing this it's an hour, and we are like a few minutes more than an hour. And I want to appreciate. I promise you guys, we are going to bring out another day. Okay, we're going to bring out another day and another time. But for today, right here, right now, we need to end this. I want to thank you so much, Remy Fagbon.
Thank you for having me.
Again,
follow the pages. Follow both of the pages because you'll get more information there. And of course, we can also have sessions because, like it or not, everybody's issues are different. Yeah. And that's what I started my other company for, to help people get through it.
Yeah. Okay, can you real quick just tell them where they can find you and follow you aside the Remy? I know you have your personal page, then you have your other.
And under the profile, it says Deliberate Intentions, which is basically just about living your life intentionally, both your husband, yourself, and your family. So Deliberate Intentions is the other one, but you'll find the link under my profile, Remy Fagbon.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for everyone that joined, for everyone that tuned in, for everyone that contributed today. And I hope, as the Queen, I hope you took notes of people that were communicating, that were, that were involved in the show for today. I know there was a post promising a giveaway and all that, but there are rules to follow. And I hope, Christiana, I hope you're there, and I hope you're taking notes, because really I am not taking notes. I don't know who came in first. We don't know who commented first. I really do not know. So hopefully you're doing that. I want to thank each and every one of you for making this happen. I cannot sit down alone here and just blab if you guys are not there. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for the time. Thank you for spending your data with me. I know for those in Nigeria, the data thing is a big deal. So thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until the next time I come your way, my name is still Odun Akerele, Odunola Matilda Akerele. Okay, I'll see you all next time. Bye. Have a good evening.
Bye.
From here. Bye. Bye.